Hostage letter found in Sinjar, Iraq, by Silevefe. The following is the text of a letter found in an abandoned village in Sinjar, Iraq. It is presumably written by a hostage of the Islamic State. The letter was uploaded to the internet yesterday, 7/21/16, after it was found by a member of the Kurdish militia. The author and date of the letter are unknown. The letter begins, "Always remember that I love you all. Please do not worry about me. Do not fear for me. I will be executed eventually. I have accepted this. All of the other hostages are dead. This is no one's fault but my own for coming here. I think I know I came here to help, and for that reason I hope to God it will be painless. Please pray that it will be swift and painless. God, I am so sorry. I've lived a full and rewarding life, but say a prayer for nonetheless. To end this, do not be saddened. At least they are allowing me to write this letter. I don't even know if they will send it, but someone must find it someday. I'll be gone by then. Another withered corpse in the desert. Maybe I'll go to heaven, maybe not. But I've already been to hell. The world needs to know what I saw. It was about 1 week ago, or maybe 2. Time is distorted here. Drug use is rampant in the camp I am being held. Amphetamines and hallucinogens. They use them to fight. At first I thought they wanted me to fight by giving me some. A sludgy, dusty protein shake of psychedelic terror. I drank almost all of it as I risked being killed otherwise. I vomited on the way to the mountain. I remember crying as I threw up, a machine gun pointed at the back of my throbbing head. We kept walking. I began to realize we were on our way to my execution. The entire camp was with us, though, climbing this mountain. The cliffs were littered with bodies in varying states of decay. Hundreds. Some were skeletons by now. I noticed smaller bodies, children, in a heap at the bottom of the steep precipice. They must have fallen all that way. It took the entire day to get 3/4 of the way up, and we finally made it to a giant opening in the mountainside. The view was great from up there, wherever we were. I didn't know. I didn't care anymore. I was so high, and I knew I was gonna die in that cave. I kissed the sunlight goodbye. We descended faster than we climbed that fucking mountain, I remember. I couldn't make sense of it. Torches lit the way. It was narrow and disorienting. Machetes clanged against the rock walls. I wanted to cover my ears. I wanted to scream. We reached an opening. Another pile, a dozen bodies or so, but only a few with heads. The buzzing of flies is what tormented me most. They were the hostages. They had to be. We worked our way down for hours. I could hear screaming. I knew they were the ghosts screaming. No one else could hear it. They were all laughing, drinking water. My mouth was too dry to ask. I wanted to take one of their machetes and kill myself. And we made it. A giant cavern the size of a football stadium inside the mountain. Couldn't believe it. It was like it had been carved out by hand. Maybe not. I looked up. There were stalactites. They were dripping blood. I thought the floor was wet and shimmering, moving. I looked more closely. Thousands of hooded figures, standing in silence, facing an altar. Immediately my captors were mesmerized, disappearing into the black hole of a crowd. No one looked back once. I tried to hide in the back. I stumbled as the entire mountain roared, shifting itself. An earthquake? The opening to the path out behind me had sealed shut. I punched the rock wall over and over, screaming inside. I couldn't make a sound as hard as I tried. I broke my hand into a mangled, bloody mess. A fire burned at my back now. I quickly turned back towards the altar to see the entire wall had been split open, flames spewing beyond the opened crevice. It slammed shut and I refocused my eyes. I saw him. It wasn't an altar after all. It was a throne. He was easily 7 feet tall, just sitting down, a murky, pitch-black figure, 2 horns growing out of his head. The robed figures were swaying now, slowly, back and forth. There was a low buzzing, a humming. It was growing louder and louder. Voices now, disembodied chanting, moaning, reverberating through the cavern, blood dripping. The entire cave was breathing. This went on for what felt like an hour. The figure stood up, 11 feet tall. There was silence now. Every single figure assumed the prayer position immediately. I did the same, but didn't go all the way down. I watched, terrified. His eyes were red. He looked at me and smiled. His teeth were white and sharp. Next, he expelled a guttural, demonic scream. I remember his mouth stretched open inhumanely wide. The entire mountain shook, tearing itself apart. I felt impending doom and then the end of the world. Blood was pouring down off the stalactites. I tried to run, but I tripped and hit my head. I fell unconscious, a puddle of the earth's blood pooling around me. When I woke up, I was back at the camp. The sun was rising and everything was glowing orange. I was relieved. I had not been executed. It was a nightmare. Maybe the drug cocktail was too strong. Yes, the drugs. It was just a bad trip. It had to have been. I was sweating nervously still, but my body felt clean, my garb new. I noticed a jug of water next to my makeshift cot, and I reached to grab it. I knocked it to the ground with my mangled up hand. My hand. My heart felt like it was ripped out right at that moment. Fucking hell. It was barely bandaged back together and badly broken. Bones were exposed. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't a bad trip. A scorpion scurried off as the water splashed near it. I could hear that same fucking scream. The world will hear it soon enough. They dwell deep within the earth, and they're coming. He's coming. I love everyone. Mom, Dad, Catherine, and Max. Please, stay strong.